Prior to getting elected as the House Speaker, Mike Johnson kept a relatively low profile. But now that he's second in line to the presidency, the media is scrambling to figure out his policy views on a variety of issues. And what they're finding is setting off alarm bells in the Social Security and Medicare world. Based on his 2-year stint as the chair of the Republican Study Committee from 2019 to 2021, he released proposed budgets that called for $2 trillion in cuts to Medicare and $750 billion in cuts to Social Security. In his first speech after being elected, he said the House would vote immediately to create a bipartisan commission to analyze the national debt and the extent to which social safety net spending is driving it. Here's what he said, quote, "The greatest threat to our national security is our nation's debt. We know this is not going to be an easy task and tough decisions will have to be made. But the consequences, if we don't act now, are unbearable. We have a duty to the American people to explain this to them so they understand it well. And we're going to establish a bipartisan debt commission to begin working on this crisis immediately," close quote. His words seem to echo those of both former Comptroller General of the federal government, David Walker, and former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mike Mullen, who said that the national debt was the single greatest threat to national security. Why? Because it's much more difficult to defend yourself against foreign enemies if a huge portion of your annual revenue goes to servicing debt. Countries who allocate huge tranches of their annual income to debt service aren't nearly as nimble as countries who have much less debt. The proposed budget cuts put forth by Johnson's committee have been likened to a death panel by the Biden administration and Social Security expansion advocates, such as the National Committee to Preserve Social Security and Medicare, as well as Social Security Works. In fact, Social Security Works President Nancy Altman recently stated that, quote, "This commission is designed to subvert the will of the American people by fast-tracking cuts to Social Security and Medicare behind closed doors." Tellingly, the continuing resolution specifies that Congress will vote on the commission's recommendations no earlier than November 6th, 2024, the day after the election, close quote. Altman went on to say that the commission is designed to allow incumbents to avoid any political fallout in the coming election for their support of dramatic cuts to entitlement programs. Max Rickman, president and CEO of the National Committee to Preserve Social Security and Medicare, recently stated, quote, "As if to prove right off the bat that he's coming after Social Security and Medicare, the new Republican House Speaker, Mike Johnson, announced that he is creating a debt commission. Johnson has a history of blaming the debt on Social Security and Medicare and falsely claiming that Social Security is going belly up. Social Security and Medicare Part A are self-financed and do not contribute a penny to the debt. But the kind of commission Johnson announced is designed to give Congress political cover for cutting Americans' earned benefits. That is why these commissions have been rightly described as death panels for Social Security and Medicare. It is unfortunate and disappointing that one of the Speaker's first priorities is creating a mechanism intended to slash programs that American workers pay for in every paycheck, fully expecting the benefits to be there when they need them, close quote. Okay, let's separate a bit of fact from fiction. First of all, Social Security and Medicare have not contributed to our nation's roughly $34 trillion in debt as of yet. That debt can be attributed to wars, the subscription drug program for seniors, COVID-19 bailouts, etc. However, we do know that the Medicare Trust Fund runs out in 2027 and the Social Security Trust Fund runs out in 2032, meaning that the federal government will have to begin borrowing huge sums of money to keep these programs afloat. And that is one of the reasons why the projected debt between now and 2032 goes up by about $2 trillion per year, and why it will begin going up by $3 trillion per year in 2033 and thereafter. So no, entitlement programs haven't thus far contributed to the debt, but also no, these programs don't pay for themselves in perpetuity. Okay, so what do I think of all this? I think that no matter how well-intentioned Speaker Johnson is, and no matter how cogent his plans are for fixing up the long-term fiscal shortfalls for Social Security and Medicare, he doesn't have the political capital to get these cuts passed. Even if they were to pass in the House and Senate, it would almost certainly be vetoed by Joe Biden. What is more likely to happen? Congress will continue to kick the can down the road, take the path of least resistance. When you cut Social Security and Medicare, you immediately alienate the voters who got you elected and give your primary opponent fodder for attack ads against you. When these programs finally face their day of reckoning in 2027 and 2032, Congress will be forced to act, but they aren't likely to cut these programs. They're more likely to dramatically raise taxes. How do we know this? Because they don't have a track record of reducing or eliminating government programs once they've been implemented. However, they do have a track record of dramatically raising taxes when the situation calls for it. And trust me, when these programs start to go belly up, that's precisely that confluence of events that could force their hand when it comes to higher taxes. What does all this mean for your retirement savings? It means that you should take advantage of the next 8 years or so of historically low tax rates to get your IRAs and 401ks repositioned to tax-free. You will pay taxes along the way, but you'll do so at historically low tax rates. Pay the taxes now so that by the time tax rates potentially double over time, you've done all the heavy lifting and can take those dollars out 100% tax-free. If you would like some help implementing a balanced, comprehensive approach to retirement planning that shields you from longevity risk and tax rate risk, head on over to davemcknight.com and click on the Connect with an Advisor button. I'm happy to refer you to an advisor in the Power Zero network that has been trained, vetted, qualified personally by me. If you're a financial professional and want to learn how to become a certified Power Zero advisor, head over to powerzero.com and opt into my free video series. And if you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop them into the comment section below. I'll respond to every single one of them personally. And don't forget to click like, subscribe, and the bell so you never miss a video. This is David McKnight. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.